The fact
So
that we're getting werewolves now is a delight.
we could have someone burn Issa's Haven down.
Or we could refrain from burning yet another haven, and we could try actually being diplomatic.
I hear sending messages is important. That's what Ben told Salvatore, that you have to send a strong message.
Like, Elizabeth, like, she left for a minute, and y'all are just burning shit down while, like, Pixie's panicking in the corner. Don't give me that
I don't
look.
know. I don't know where these y'all came from. This is all Sal.
This is so...
He called me mean things.
So I had to help him burn the place down.
I had to burn his house down. He called me a name.
He called me a name. I had to commit arson.
Sal has underdeveloped social skills.
Very, very much so.
Pixie is a horrifying, deformed monster, and she has better social skills than you, which says a lot. She
Salvatore's
tries.
social skills stopped like in pre-kindergarten. That's where he stopped. He'd never learned about sharing or, saying thank you.
Reminds me a lot of my 2-year-old.
Oh man!
Basically
But
the
with
terrible
arson.
twos for the last 70 years.
God. But speaking of destiny, I'm gonna pull a Charlotte and say, vampires.
Yeah. My bad. I don't think we're going to be doing the shenanigans I had promised tonight because we kind of got caught right in the middle last week of a disappearance thread that I was laying down for reasons, and then the stars aligned with. You'll note Charlotte is missing this evening, who plays Elizabeth, our Toreador. She is doing very important game-related stuff for business, and we're wishing her all a ton of luck with that. I hope she rocks it and crushes it. So she's missing, and then she actually sort of mentioned, like, hey, like, write me out here. I thought, hey, I can get these two stars aligned. And I've got this like cool reveal that's going to be like funny and that can lead into the shenanigans. I never got to do that. So we're just kind of like in the middle of a disappearance plot and about to stare down a werewolf in Hubbard Park. So that's the quick recap. Let's do our player introductions here real quick. Starting with Abby, who just hit me with the shepherd's hook over the head.
I know Charlotte left me in charge for the weekend. But hi, I'm Abby, she, her. You can find me on the internet as Nothing of Abby. I talk about video games, memes, and indigenous issues, and sometimes I can talk. And tonight I'll be playing our local Nosferatu, Pixie, and oh boy, she's gotten herself into quite a bit of trouble with this lot.
Indeed. Next up, so our cameras are all mixed around from what I look at versus what's over here. Just that one person throws my whole radial dial off. But we're going to move on to Scott next and have Scott introduce himself and who he's playing.
I'm playing. My name is Scott, and I'm playing Ben Sahar. They are our resident Tremere, and thanks to present discussion, now I'm looking up occult stuff. So I'll probably get into more Tremere shenanigans at some point.
That line between where Tremere occultism and Scott's obsession.
This is where Scott's interests lie.
This is like exactly Scott's jam. So, Scott just happens to align with Ben Sahar's with their interests. So it's
he's my spirit animal.
Right. And then next up, my oldest friend in the world, Sam. How's it going, my friend?
I'm doing all right. My name's Sam. I don't think I'm able to be found on the internet that easily.
It's perfectly Malkavian.
Yeah, I
it's
don't know
better
if
this way.
that Twitter account ever got made.
Speaking of, did we make the cast like fan account? Did we do that? Was it Malkavian in car at Twitter, whatever?
We have not, unfortunately.
Yeah, we have to do this. Has to happen now. We've talked
I
about it
was too
3 times.
busy
We've spoken it
talking
into
to a
existing.
tree.
Yeah, now you're manifesting. Speaking of magical thinking, like now you've spoken it into the universe, and now you need to harness your will to manifest it in reality. So you got to go ahead and if you don't, you're going to get repercussions from the chaos energies or whatever.
All right, bring it, chaos energies.
And you're playing our Malkavian as previously mentioned.
Yes, and I guess I don't have too much to add to that. I'm sure Cass will mess things up for somebody somehow.
Brilliant. Cass did recently sort of say goodbye to a contact, we'll say, or something like that. Perhaps she'll be making a reappearance down the line, or perhaps end up as a remote contact in Chicago should things broaden out from Milwaukee. Who knows? But that might be more of a second season plot thread that I laid in the first season that we need to get through this entire year. And last but not least, the man with no name, Ty Brannigan.
I am Ty, and I will be playing Salvatore, who is all about walking a straight and narrow path and being his best self, trying not to burn other kindred havens down to the ground, trying not to sacrifice things, doing what he can to be a good individual.
Are you sure about that?
No. It was
Not
hard to
well
say
done.
that all. It was really hard to say that. So we should probably just dive into the action because I can't pretend to be a good person.
See, I was just imagining Ty's player IRL, like we're all sitting here and we're all characters on a storyboard or whatever, and Ty's player character rolling dice for your bluff there. Meta humor. All right, cool. So, as I mentioned last week, the party is in Hubbard Park. Oh, right. I am your storyteller this evening. I am the magical Mr. Mephisto, if you're not into brevity. If you do dig brevity, Mephisto, or Andrew, I like telling stories and facilitating fun, so I'm going to hope to do some of that this evening. But we are in Hubbard Park, which is actually kind of a landmark of Milwaukee. It is an interesting park. A lot of people get married there, but also there's a ton of weird ghost stories about like ghost trains and stuff. And it's got this rather unique landscaping in that it's sort of terraced down towards the river, and it has this sort of hub of bike trails and national park trails that actually lead well outside the city. So if it were a world of darkness, it might be a perfect sort of nexus for something like, say, packs of werewolves to get into the city from a couple different avenues, or not. I don't know. And it's also got a lot of wilderness surrounding it, and you'll recall from the very, very first sort of leg of adventuring that there is the WITI tower, and I think I accidentally managed to pull up a shot of Hubbard Park that actually shows off the WITI tower in it. So this is pretty cool. Once upon a time, the largest freestanding structure in the world. And now it just plays ghost channels. So speaking of ghosts, welcome to Milwaukee by Night. Here at Hubbard Park, the party has all reconvened after the realization that Pixis, she called him friend explicitly. Friend Francis has gone missing. There seems to be some foul play afoot, what with at the very least, planting of some paraphernalia, and in the city abroad, sort of we understand through Cass, folks from the VA, one of the VA shelters have gone missing as well, and I think you should have last week received a text message from from Elizabeth saying that she'll catch up with y'all later, type thing, right? So she's missing question mark or written off cleverly out of the story, so she can go do big business. You're at Hubbard Park. You've just encountered a wildkin, and I will let you sort of take over.
Formerly a wildkin.
Correct.
I believe the verb was gladiust. The Wild King got gladiust.
Wild King encountered us.
Did it though? I don't even know I was ever aware of you two.
Like I said,
we leave you alone for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we can't let you two do anything without it ending in atrocious acts of violence.
Look at the party dynamic that's formed. We have these cross sections of relationships that have organically formed that I absolutely adore. You've got the sort of Pix tie axiom. You have the Pix Cass axiom. You've got and now you're forming the Cass Ben axiom, and you had the Ben tie axiom. So apparently horrible ritual stuff happens on this axiom, and on this axiom, crazy violence. We went 7. It was 6 sessions, but 7 episodes without a combat die rolled, and I take that, quite frankly, as a point of honor. I'm very.
Hey, at least we only had to roll one.
One roll's all it took.
But we finally rolled some combat dice, and it happened on the Cass Ben Sahar axiom.
So who has the night vision goggles? Is Cass wearing those?
He hasn't taken them. I think we haven't distributed that stuff. I did distribute the shotgun to
Pixie. With
Poor
the
Pix.
instructions.
I'm just waiting for her to shoot the shotgun and fly backwards. Like something out of a Benny Hill thing.
It's going to do more damage to her than it's going to do to any werewolf.
Yep.
So,
but
go ahead,
we do have a beast to hunt tonight.
It's not a hunt. We're just going to look for somebody to talk to.
House call.
Yeah.
Sure.
Lots of people come to Salvatore's doors wanting to sell things at times.
You have a cup of sugar.
So the main thing of note regarding this particular sort of segment of Hubbard Park that this isn't the main stretch that you came in at where all the wedding photos are taken. This is one of the sort of wraparound areas closer to the river, and a little bit sort of deeper into the woods. You're essentially heading towards one of the rail bridges that look awesome for your photos, like I said, during the day, but during the night, quite haunted. And you have that sort of sheen of second or third winter ice in a sort of April in Wisconsin that has hit everything, where it's just spring wants to happen, but it snowed, the snow melted, and then it froze, and so just everything has this gloss over it. This almost looks slimy in the moonlight, and we're sort of on the waning phase of the moon, so we're going into what would be a new moon. So you're, it's been a few nights since the half moon. We're approaching like a quarter moon type situation here. No reason. It has nothing to do with werewolves.
We do have a path that Ben established for us to follow with his their ritual.
With their ritual, correct. So
but unless we see other threats, I think we head towards the silver thread of goodness. Or
yes.
Gold thread. Or...
Well, first we're going to get the goggles.
Right. So who's wearing the goggles?
Not Salvatore. I don't perceive things well.
Cass will.
Cass has the best awareness of the bunch.
He
notices everything.
How very Malkavian. I love how much XP went into perceiving things for Cass when I saw the character sheet. Cass don't miss shit.
It really doesn't. I don't think Cass has rolled less than 5 successes on any wits and awareness this game.
Oh.
He's like, I see
Scary.
everything.
If only the Malkavian could sort like fiction from reality. And that's the rub with Malkavians. Also brilliantly represented, by the way, in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which I did take some inspiration from for this game.
So once we get the goggles and we put them on our perceptive friend Cass, I'm gonna go ahead and use Unseen Passage again and start making my way towards the. I'm not getting Silence of Death because I need them to be able to hear me, like when I'm giving them directions on where we're going. But I don't want to be seen.
Pix actually, upon that being revealed, will say, "Well, let me come with you. Look, I really don't know how to use this thing. She's just gonna be holding the shotgun, her wiggly, twiggy arms. But if one thing's good, I can see out of sight. That's the one thing I'm good at. Just trust me."
We didn't bring duct tapes out. We could have duct taped it on her arm. And then we don't have to worry about it. Just got to pull the thing.
Pix is just gonna look at her fragile, like sphinx-like skin, and back at Ben, and then back at herself. Let's just stick with finding the werewolf first.
Yes, you can stay hidden too, right?
That's right. How about you, soldier?
Absolutely not. It'll just be me walking through the woods. Unassuming like.
I'll stick close to you.
With his creepy hand.
Fantastic new pair of gloves.
Yes, gloves are on.
I don't know. I guess it depends on if his creepy hand stinks to werewolves or not.
So the party is aware of the hand, as I recall. You did show it off.
Oh yeah, at the club before we headed out, I showed off my new look.
How much of a stickler do y'all want me to be on Obfuscate? Because I'm okay with the party having an understanding of where each other are, like physically, if you'd like.
Well, unfortunately, with crust on the ground, they're gonna know where we're at.
Oh, true.
That's that key detail was not missed. Just saying.
Also, without a level, level 3 ability, without a level 3 ability, you still show up to thermal imaging.
Which only Pix has, by the way.
That's right, baby. Ghost in the machine. I use my Zoomer knowledge.
Yeah, so you don't roll anything additional. That just modifies your unseen presence. Pix literally does not show up to technological means either. Excellent. This is actually a very important distinction for this evening.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna make notes that say as far away from you guys as possible.
So Unseen Passage does require a rouse check.
It does.
Salvatore's just mumbling to himself about not understanding why everyone hides all the time.
So Pix is going to gain a hunger.
Alas, the beast is calling upon me this night.
Because we all don't have fortitude.
You just gotta walk up to somebody and say hi. Surprising people ends poorly.
So, it's as the beast comes out to play this evening in Pix and Ben Sahar that the sort of collective resonance works its way through the coterie. And everyone's beast sort of stirs like, it's time for everybody to roll a rouse to see if they get hungry this evening.
Oh boy.
Based on my track record, I will. Don't worry. I got this.
Cass passes. He ate last session. But I
Can you re-roll a rouse check ever?
I think with a certain level of blood potency you can.
Well, blood potency, you get bonus dice to roll with it, essentially.
That's only for rouse checks with like powers and stuff.
All right, so y'all stealth forth. Are you letting? I mean, Ben sort of has to take a little bit of point on this, but is Salvatore taking point? I just want a rough configuration.
I mean, Salvatore is just walking and every so often listening for Ben to direct, or if possible. I don't know that I can. Can I see footprints? I mean,
Yeah, you can see footprints.
yeah. So it depends if Ben wants Salvatore out front or if he wants Salvatore to. Just
You're
trail.
following in my footsteps.
Okay.
Actually, you're carrying me.
And I do recall Cass actually did do a scan prior
Yeah.
to see that there's no immediate heat signatures, either super hot, which would denote a werewolf, or basically a void, which would denote a vampire. Like, they show up as quote unquote blank bodies. It's not like they show up like room temperature or cold or whatever. Like, vampires show up essentially like sub temperature,
Especially cold weather.
except for pigs. So Ben is sort of guiding, but and you have this sort of like preceding footprints, and you head towards, as I mentioned, I believe last week, you head towards one of these sort of weird game trails that are a little bit larger than a game trail should be, for reasons. And it leads you off towards one of the more ill-repaired segments of the rail bridge. Not the part where everyone takes their photos for weddings in Hubbard Park. One of the more off-the-beaten-path ones, where they decommissioned the railroad, but they never quite got fully down around to tearing this segment down. And you can see some actually sort of like a one of these terraces raised up in the background, where sort of like at this point to your flank you have the WITI tower, which is where you were previously, and then sort of in the foreground off in front of you have this bend on the river, and one of the terraces is actually like built up rather high, and you can actually see an old school stone fort tower that would have had like some cannons and stuff protecting the river. Obviously the cannons aren't there anymore, and it's at this point only 2/3 standing, and you can see the little like trellis for the rail that's fallen apart in chunks, but you still have this one archway left over for this rail bridge. Doesn't cross the river anymore even, and that's where you saw the light at the end of the tunnel. There's overgrown woods, as we mentioned before, almost alien in nature compared to like what the wilderness should be in this area. You know, it's abundant, it's thick, and it bends at irregular angles and stuff, type thing. You know, the trees don't grow straight up per se. They actually seem to be growing and curling away from the rail bridge. They're still basically, you know, conifers and deciduous trees, but, you know, it's not like they're from an alien land, but the way they grow is what gives them their alien appearance. Usually trees grow towards light, right? Like, that's their whole shtick.
So on this bridge, is there a place under it, or like any kind of shelter where someone could be hiding, or it's just kind of, this is where the trail led, was out to that last standing trellis, which I imagine is kind of out in the open and up?
Yeah, so like I said, you have this sort of like off in the off in the distance, you have this one sort of terrace where you can see this old cannon tower, old school like stone fortress, you know, single tower, blah blah blah, and then, you know, wilderness between, and then you have this what would be sort of a I'll be on the nose here. What would be a ley line cutting through the woods and crossing the riverbanks, and you have this one sort of stone trellis with a rail, the rail bridge on top. You know, the rails would be built on top of it, with some wooden, you know, like a wooden cover and so on and so forth. And you have this tunnel that goes up underneath that railroad.
Yeah, I missed that.
And the bridge itself, again, it doesn't cross the river like it once would have. But this section remains. If you were to follow it, you know, further away from the river, you'd see the really pristine, nice kept section of this, what should be a connecting rail, right? But you have this sort of like one isolated chunk of ruin, essentially. That's fallen to disrepair, and they've never quite gotten around to tearing it down. You can maybe see the occasional graffiti, and again, all the trees seem to be growing sort of away from it.
So this tunnel where we're headed?
It is.
Without a doubt, there's gotta be something in there, and I don't think werewolves are taking nice wedding photos.
What do you say, Cass? Once more into the breach.
Seems that way.
Salvatore will just trudge towards the tunnel with his invisible friends.
Cass will be bringing up the rear. He's making sure we're not getting ambushed.
Cass can go ahead and roll a wits awareness. The Oblivion thing happens for you again. This isn't full-on tree area, but this is where the veil is weak. So your Oblivion occurs.
Does my hand tingle?
Yeah.
I'll take my glove off. Let it just kind of trace through the air. Salvatore starts doing this kind of weird thing with his fingers where it's almost like he's trying to draw this into him.
So where the barbs where your nails should be, you can see the tips sort of begin to give a faint sort of crimson glow.
Yeah, Pix is invisible as she is just gonna stop where she is and just stare as this shit's happening. Like, can we have one night where we're trying to solve Milwaukee's problems without magical bullshit happening?
No.
Can't you feel it?
No. I mean, it's weird, but no.
Cass got 4 successes.
All right, I'll get to Cass in a second. Salvatore, using Oblivion in this area, you will do so at 1 lowered difficulty. It's not as prominent as the tree, but the veil is weakened in this area. It's not like full blown corruption per se, but it's weakened here. As far as Cass, you see some sort of distant blips that run not like super hot, but a little bit warmer. They're on the edge of the periphery of your vision. A lesser astute individual may not have even noticed them. Like, you just happen to pick up behind you at the flank, sort of. They're moving at a steady pace. They don't seem to be, like, weaving or doing any sort of maneuvers. Just distantly, these running a little bit warmer. Maybe they're trying to check in on somebody that didn't radio back in, and they're looking for a body, but they're, again, on the basically the full extent of the goggles range.
Wildkin behind us. Wolves still over their eyes, though.
Think they're any threat?
They will be.
I'm
There's
just saying
Pull
it's
them
not
now.
There's 4 of them.
right. Oh, I was as cautious as we should be. At the same time, I don't think we need to get on Issa's bad side any more than we already do. We're kindred in her territory. I just say that we lay down our arms until they attack us.
No.
It's not gonna put us in her good graces, is what I'm saying. And I don't know about the rest of you lot, but I could go for this night without being torn apart by the werewolf we're trying to deal with.
So we talk to Issa first, then we kill the wildkin.
And if you certainly have a taste for bloodshed afterwards, then go right ahead. I really don't see the need for it regardless.
Sometimes talking gets a little boring.
Just Invisible Pix is gonna roll her eyes and continue forward. This is the other. Talking is boring.
All I'm hearing is Samwise Genji saying, "Not if I stick you first."
Cass wants to eliminate all threats. Like, if he would.
Do you see anything down the tunnel?
Well, he'll look over his shoulder and down the tunnel.
Basically, off on just the other side, you can make up this, like, almost beacon of heat.
What is protocol? Do I just call her name?
mean, there's no guarantee she's here. Just saying.
It could be something like a pack mate. We could. I mean, it doesn't hurt, right?
Might
Right.
hurt a lot.
That's what I got the gun for. Hopefully, I think.
Well, little bat, you're the least threatening among us.
Pix isn't sure how to take that on. Already, we are treading on quite a dangerous path. And hear that she's the least threatening with a gun does not exactly soothe one's soul. But regardless, there is some heat at the end of that tunnel. Let's move.
Heat at the end of the tunnel, and then Pix cut out a bit.
I was gonna say, let's go and see that heat at the end of the tunnel. No, he's holding up fate now.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and activate Silence of Death, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start making my way down the hallway.
Did y'all ever check what, like, break open the hand cannon to see what type of ammunition's in it? Or, because I know you saw the bandolier of stakes, but did you ever check the...
Cass probably would have. I didn't think of it, but
Oh, if Cass... roll a luck check to see if Cass had looked, so just a straight D10.
it's a 1.
Cass, just for whatever reason, in the heat of the moment, just didn't think to check. All right. So Ben activates silence of the dead and proceeds through the tunnel. You can see the little like crimps in the gloss. You know, right? The sheen of ice begin to like sort of compress.
I'm defying Bane, so I get a little hungrier, but I activate my Defy Bane. That helps me take a little bit extra egg and just in case.
What's everyone hunger's level at right now, by the way?
I would contemplate also doing Resilience, because that also lets you take less damage.
Cass is at 0 hunger.
Yeah, Fortitude to health. Yeah, I have that in there. I basically
Two
just
hunger.
added that as anytime I'm in combat because it's a free cost, no rouse check.
How much Pix? Was it 2?
Yes, a 2. Dos.
The second dot ability lasts for a scene. That's a good one too for Fortitude that you have.
Sal, what was your hunger at?
Toughness is that? I have 2 hunger. So I have resilience, I have toughness, and I have Defy Bane.
So the number 2 lets you take damage off of what damage you were hit with. So you pair that with Defy Bane, you're turning ag into,
into superficial,
non-lethal.
and then reducing superficial by my Fortitude. Cool.
That turns you into a beefcake.
I mean, Sal's already a beefcake. That just means this is a beefcake that doesn't expire. Ben, hunger? Interesting. All right.
It's not interesting. I fail all the rouse checks.
Oh, it's hungry.
Pardon me.
I've only successfully made 1 rouse check in this entire game so far.
Interesting.
Sounds about.
I gotta try to keep my cough button here on quick draw, everybody. I'm sorry about that.
Salvatore starts whistling as he walks into the tunnel.
Oh God. Pix, where are you?
Pix is going to be a little bit behind Sal, and surely if the sound of her palm hitting her forehead as he begins to whistle down the tunnel doesn't alert whoever's at the end of it to their presence, that probably
that
will.
Whistle while you work song.
Do you know that? Does Sal know that song, or is it some Sinatra or something?
I don't know. Whistle while you work. What was that originally from?
Could have been one of those deceptively really old Disney.
I think it was, right?
Snow White.
Snow White, yeah.
It's from,
Salvatore knows that. Snow White was one of his favorites.
Okay.
He identified with the witch.
I bet he did.
1938. Yeah, Sal would know that. All right.
I can't whistle myself, but Salvatore is a heck of a whistler.
I can't either. This is the real reason I got into RPGs, is to like play characters that could whistle.
Yeah.
Actually, it'd be better if he couldn't whistle and he just tried. And he just kind of like.
No,
It's probably
be funny.
performance, and he can't, so he's off.
no.
pitch
Whistling is its own skill, and it's like it's in the bonus territory of like, you know, background, and it's, you've got like 10 fake points to spend on arbitrary garbage.
Yeah, well then
you
that-
spent one
that-
on whistling. You spent one on
Yeah,
whistling. I'm
I've
sorry.
got a whistling point for
yeah,
sure.
you've got a whistling point for sure.
Drive often is under that category as well in RPGs.
Drive?
Most RPG characters can't drive.
Or it's assumed that you just can't drive aggressively or professionally.
I mean, we could drive a car into this tunnel. That would have been a thought.
Alas, we did not bring the car with us.
Anyways, we're in the tunnel, and we're ready for whatever this heat signature is.
I'm going to edit this out, but I want everyone to appreciate I'm rocking the rainbow Milwaukee skyline here with my ghost straw.
Love it.
Team checks out.
Yeah. Look, always be on brand, right? So y'all head through the tunnel. The cast, I assume, are you trying to sweep or like kind of fixate on this like heat beacon? Are you trying to like watch both the front and the back? Like how are you? Yeah.
Cass is more concerned with the front right now, but he is going to keep an eye on the back.
Okay. So in which case I'm gonna you're kind of keeping it beat. It's pretty obvious you already like picked it out before. So you're keeping it beat on. It's gonna be more of like a awareness check to sort of keep the tabs behind you. Then is really what I'm getting at.
Right.
But your primary focus is on the beacon.
That's another 4 successes.
All right.
Nothing can hide from Cass.
Nope. You need to pick up the. Do you have sense the unseen aspects?
He does. Yep, he has sense the unseen.
Nothing can hide from Cass.
Yeah, it's a superpower.
He also has premonition.
Ooh.
The like level 4 or whatever.
It's premonition is level 2.
Yeah, it's level 2.
Oh, okay. You keeping an eye on the beacon. It reacts as essentially the party gets sort of like halfway through this tunnel. The tunnel is a little bit longer than maybe y'all realized. It's not a simple I mean, it's got to have like the width of a train on it, and then some girth to boot for essentially walking paths and repair paths. Would have been back in the day, and it feels yet twice the width of even that. So you're walking for a spell, and you get about halfway through when this heat beacon up ahead reacts. You manage to keep Bede behind you. You notice that they've begun to move with more earnest, but they're still not. I mean, they don't have a beat. They just. It's clear that they're sort of like looking for whodunit at this point. Like just based on like where they sort of like they'll glob in a spot, spread back out, and then they move. This isn't like a coordinated attack pattern. They're looking, but they're now moving more quickly, and they're closing the distance behind you. And then this beacon ahead of you sort of like seems to notice something, and it sort of jaunts off a little bit further. And I don't know how to describe mostly in invisible terrain with a bunch of snow and stuff via thermal imaging, but you can see it sort of like heads off and sort of like moves off to a flank, off somewhere up ahead. But I mean, you've got a beat on it. You can't not see it with the vision, these goggles.
All right, Cass will say, the pups know something's afoot, heading this way, and the she-wolf. I mean, he thinks it's the she-wolf. The she-wolf's up ahead, and he'll point out like the flank and everything.
I think the mention of she-wolf is firstly, is casting this aloud?
Yeah, he calls the wildcat and the pups are coming, and then he's pretty. I mean, he thinks it's Issa, so he's like the she-wolf's up ahead.
As much panic floods through Pix's body at the mention of the pups are closing in, the she-wolf is coming. She's still going to, I'm not sure what the term I'm looking for here is, holster, puts her gun on her back. She doesn't want to look threatening. Sure, the rest of this lot, there might be bloodshed, but if there's anything to be said of her blood, it's knowing how to get out of these situations without dying. And by looking as non-threatening as possible.
Cass is silently judging you, a little disappointed.
Some of us aren't built for war, unfortunately. Some of us are built for skulking around in sewers and secrets.
Batty puts on a little like leaf that had fallen off the tree, and it's got like a gloss of ice on it, and just like puts it on like a helmet and like hangs out your pocket and goes, eep. Just like looks ahead,
like this either.
steely gaze. Batty, super like, Batty's ready to protect you.
Oh, he's gonna bat Batty's little head with my finger and then like crouch into a more defensible position.
No, Batty looks up at you and shakes off your attempts at affection. Batty's locked in.
Locked in and loaded as a true little brown bat
And it just
would be.
and it just eeps again, like stares forward.
Need to get Batty a shotgun.
Batty better hope that and keep that energy when the werewolf shows up.
Actually, if you want to keep up that energy, could you go scout ahead of us? See what that heat signature that Cass spotted was?
Batty just gives this like super intent like nod. I don't know if you ever like held a bat. They're actually like super adorable, and they are mammals and rather intelligent. Like not quite dog intelligent, but they're pretty locked in. Rats are super smart too, and they're just like Batty just makes eyes, understands you obviously, and just like okay, no, we're not going full anthropomorphic, but in a different world, Batty totally pulled the hat down like even harder and then like fluttered off.
In a Disney film.
Yeah, in a Disney film, but in this version, like it flutters off and the hat falls off instead.
The proper Fungoli bat would.
Yeah. You don't have like live eyesight with your aminals yet. You have to like talk to them and stuff, right? Like it's not full on familiar.
Yeah, I gotta talk to her for now, but eventually, who knows? I might just become the bat, but we'll see.
Bound in hell. When you turn into swarms of bats and stuff, that'll be so metal.
Yes.
Yeah, Batty flits off. Do you give Batty time? Does the coterie? I guess we're calling it a coterie now. It's complicated.
It's very complicated, coterie.
Does the coterie move on and like kind of meet up with Batty? Because like I said, the heat signature it headed off. Like it's not, and it was quick. It's not right there outside the tunnel or anything. Again, it's hard to describe because you're still in the tunnel.
Are you sure we can't call its name?
It's worth at least looking into it. Getting some intel before we dive in fully. You know, diplomatic procedures.
It's good to wait for the recon.
See? Cass gets it.
As Cass like keeps an eye on our rear.
All right. You'll note that there's a new entry into the NPCs folder. I don't know that I communicated this to anybody outwardly or if I got gushed about it privately, but Isadora is known as Isadora the Outcast, and you don't want to meet the Outcast. We'll get into that later if I haven't said why. She is currently in her sort of jet black Gauru form, not full blown war form, but full anthropomorphic form. And she is, even in that form, larger than usual, which is what Batty's about to communicate to you, even though Batty doesn't see color per se. But large.
Just black and white and black and white.
Yeah, like, and then, echolocation. It's large wolf form with a strong physique, and when you see, to confirm, jet black fur with patches of silver sort of like streak through the mane. And she has this where a normal wolf's eyes would like sheen, like that's sort of like what is it, like a yellow in the lights and stuff like that. She has this weird like purple hue to them, like on the opposite side of the color spectrum, essentially. Not quite like a full blown purple, but again, you're looking at like a yellow. You're going to go towards the red, but then it swings a little purple. And so she's essentially like off in the wilderness, and there's a cabin nearby that has been sort of retrofitted off a bike path, which is what Batty communicates to you. That off in the distance, you're going to land on a bike trail that's been overgrown. You're going to wind around the bike trail, following the riverbank, and then once you sort of head back and recede into the wilderness, there will be a cabin just up a little bit on a hill, and Isadora has sort of retreated to that cabin.
Pix would communicate this to the coterie and kind of gives Hell a look and say, "You still want to go say hi to her?"
Need to talk to her about a few things.
Batty says she looks wounded. She's holding her chest.
Well, she's not in good condition, according to Batty.
Maybe those pups are hunting her.
Maybe it could be a chance to get into her good graces, right?
Oh, you want to kill him.
I mean, I was going to kill him later, but we can kill him now, too.
We should at least go find the cabin
Turns
first.
on a heel. Oh, we're going to find the cabin first?
Right. For all we know, they could be her children or her guardians or whatever rank those things have in there. At the very least, we want to approach on neutral terms.
This is probably where I'd look to Elizabeth and say, try diplomacy. And
You feel Elizabeth in spirit saying, just nodding that Pix is in charge while she's gone.
Good. All right, lead the way a little bit.
Pix will, at this, lead the way. Is just gonna, kind of pick up her shoulders and take lead for once. Kind of looking a bit prouder than her stinky little Nosferatu self usually would.
I haven't forgotten about last week. Sal, you still have a good roll coming from, was it the Rousing the Beast or whatever you did? You still have you still have a Rousing of the Beast coming for you for free this week?
yeah, I added 2 dice or whatever.
At some point. You got that coming where you get to add 2 dice to a check. Pix, enjoy a free temporary willpower from just getting affirmed by Elizabeth this evening.
Oh yeah.
Cabin.
I'm here to help you.
Yeah, y'all head towards the cabin. Stealthing, pecking order. The heat signature sort of. You're not going to be able to distinguish necessarily if it's inside or on an exterior wall per se, but it flanks around opposite the party, whether it's interior or exterior, keeping close to it. Your hand, your arborist, your green thumb, really, it sends these sort of shivers and shockwaves through your veins. Perks up as you approach this cabin. Honestly, it did it as you passed through the tunnel, but right now it's absolutely electric, bordering on intoxicating. This is a different This is a different calling. The beast has its own agenda. Ooh, this is something else. What is this?
Any discovery yearns to be fully uncovered.
All I hear is Sal saying, "I want to touch it."
Ooh.
So you'll have this cabin.
Shit out of this.
You'll have this cabin. You know that the sort of the wildkin are sort of closing, not quickly, but not with like directed purpose yet, because y'all were stealthy enough, and there's enough going on in that park. But you also have an understanding that this might be Isadora, and you want to play the diplomacy angle.
That should mean I talk as little as possible, friends.
Why you say that?
I don't. People. Well.
I mean, it's more than fair assessment if you ask me, but gotta have the hard conversations to make good things happen.
Well then. Sal will approach the door. And just. Isa.
You hear a snarl. It sort of like almost seems to come out of the wood of the cabin itself. What do you want?
To talk.
We're friends of Athena. We want to speak with you, is all. We bring no harm your way.
How do I know you're Athena's friends?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, gosh. I did not think about that.
Before the show, she was reading a book. We met her and the others in the band.
What's her favorite book?
Something
Her
Zarathustra.
notes.
Do you try to lie to her? Do you go with honesty?
No, I know this. I know this.
If you remember the context clue from the first night, was she reading a specific book or just a book that was laying around?
She was reading a specific book. It was
I
like
think it was her
Zarathustra
lyric
Shrugged
book.
or something like that.
Thus spoke Zarathustra.
Yeah.
Ah.
Does Cass pipe in with that? Because you nailed the. I went for the pronunciation. I fucked it up, but I think you just nailed it.
Yeah.
Thus spoke Zarathustra. Yeah.
Got the stra in there.
As Castle just like sort of like, as he's looking around, just sort of say it.
Can you hit me one more time with that?
Thus spoke Zarathustra.
Close enough. Go inside.
Salvatore will try to open that door.
It seems almost open before you put your hand on the knob. Not like a full-on like horror movie, like it's just like as you go for it, just, and then you grab it, and then you kind of open the door.
Enter.
Pexa's gonna walk inside. Yeah, like time to meet Issa in the flesh.
So this is the part where I say that if you enjoy Milwaukee by Night, join our Discord. It'll be in the down there part of the YouTube video if you're watching that. Otherwise, Incantabot isn't awake right now. I'm sorry. So join the Discord. All the character bios, places, random shit. It's all in the Discord. You walk inside. It is a humble, a humble sort of like two-story cabin with like a loft and stuff like that. Um, really, really bare bones, really basic, um, really squatter-ish, quite frankly. It's been brought up a bit. It looks more like almost like a crash pad or like a fallback point. Not a full-on haven by vampire terms. Really, just sort of a waypoint. You don't see Isadora or Issa immediately. Um, does the whole coterie head inside? Does anyone stay outside?
I'm gonna stay outside.
Cass will
Let
head
us go
inside.
kill.
He'll head inside if there's a window he can look out of, because that's what he'll be doing.
Yeah, I mean, classic like 4 windows. You know, like
Alright.
every outward facing wall has like a window somewhere center of it, type thing. And then you've got the loft up above. All right, Cass heads in. Ben, they stay outside. You don't have silence on of death on Ben anymore.
No, I do at this moment. I turned it. I was not using it when we were approaching, so I could communicate to the group.
Okay. I need you to actually roll your obfuscate dice.
Well, right.
So it should be like obfuscate.
Where on the dice roller? Where is it? The
it's gonna be it should actually be like wits and obfuscate.
just for expediency, I'll just go. No, it's the other dice.
Okay. And then blood potency adds to that. If and you got some of that for some reason.
4.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to distinctly put this in 2 perspectives. Ben doesn't see anyone enter the door. The party sort of like ends up inside of the sort of main segment of the cabin. There's like a hearth and everything, and some like bare minimum furniture, and you all have like sort of moved inside. Isadora seems to have come through the door behind you, and you see her standing not in wolf form, but she's rocking like an old baseball jacket, a pair of like biker gloves. She's got like an undercut on one side of her hair. It's sort of like wild straight on the other side. A couple facial piercings. You notice her. I want to call it a trademark scars. She's got sort of like lines that come across over her eye and cheek, and then onto the bridge of her nose. She's pretty, if not plain, and a little uncaring about her appearance. I think she's actually in like some like gym pants and like a pair of like Doc Martens. Like we're talking like 90s like windbreaker gym pants, by the way. Like just to keep the aesthetic of my little throwback.
I mean, Bex is gonna make no show of trying to hide that how fucking freaky this is. She's gonna, like a cat that's just had water thrown on it, fully eyes wide, just poised, tense, terrified as Issa appears. She wasn't there before, and holy shit, she was inside the cabin, and now she's looking in.
From your perspective, she might have followed you in from the door behind y'all, and you just, like type of thing. If Ben's perspective hadn't been there, right. Isidora's got like one hand in her like baseball jacket pocket. You know, like it's the like sort of shiny like red with like the white puffy sleeves that are a different color and a little sleek looking. One hand in the pocket, and the other one's like out. You say you're friends of. You say you're friends of Athena's. Ben, has your ritual did it persist or was it like seen like how, I need to.
It ends once we end at whatever location it takes us to.
So you know that the silver thread is pretty pronounced on Isidora here.
Yeah, I mean, then that would be the end of it.
But there's some residual signatures around it because I have an understanding that your Tremere ritual is maybe a little bit of a different ritual.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's some residual wisps in the area.
Friends is a strong word, but interested third party.
We care for her well-being, and we want to know that she's all right.
She, with what Sal says, she goes to retrieve her hand and winces. Care for her well-being, but interested. I'm getting conflicted messages here. And you can see her like canines get a little bit pronounced and her features go a little feral.
Easy there.
Look, I don't think you got this stuff, little man. Says it direct to Sal, who is decidedly not a little human. And Isadora herself, outside of her form, stands about like 5'8". Like she is not Elizabethan height, but her various Gauru forms are different.
I'm drawing honesty. Pix and others may think of Athena as a friend. I'm less invested and here to talk about something else entirely.
She basically, as you say that, turns her gaze entirely off of you and heads to the only person in the room she assumes to be Pix, which is this sort of sphinx cat, slinking form. Pix, sprightly, right? Like
A truly beautiful fairy. But yeah, Pix is going to shrink into herself as Issa approaches. For one, she's a very good-looking woman, and Pix is a feminine too. She's terrifyingly large, and she could probably crush me into a pulp.
Yeah,
so I need to play my cards carefully.
She's got a bit of a gymnast build to her, and what I can only describe as like a timelessness to her self. Like, as somebody may have pointed out previously, werewolves don't live as long as Isidora's reputation has, and you can, as you're in her presence, she has a bit of a like. Agelessness is hard to describe, but she seems like someone who is utterly locked in like a time period. With the she's just it's a little bizarre to describe, but like this is she's just a little like it's locked in, and her nonchalance really amplifies how beautiful she is, like how hot she is.
Oh god, she's mean and she's tall. Pix is at a loss, but hopefully she'll be able to keep her poor little self together as she approaches.
You're supposed to speak, little sprite.
Right, so we came here looking for Athena. She's someone who we were supposed to check in on, and
She interrupts you. Friends or no, I'm not telling you where Athena is.
Why not? Do you know where she is?
I'm not telling you that either.
All right. Looks like I might have to attempt to persuade her.
So as the dialogue is obviously not progressing very far, I'm gonna go ahead and drop my obfuscation stuff and come inside.
Immediately as your obfuscate drops, her head like turns towards the door, and her hand quick goes to go out of her pocket again. She winces and grips her shoulder, and then you see the claws begin to come out of her hands.
So Issa, you say you don't want to tell us where she's at.
You're going to be rolling an athletics dexterity.
Okay.
Oh no.
Like, so celerity has a quality to it. Werewolves have their own version of it. She is like Pix is mid formulating the next sentence persuasively, so you can continue to roll your dice and stuff like that. And those may have bearing on whether we shift into a combat type mode as somebody effectively ambushes her in her heightened state. Okay?
I mean, it'd be awful hard to ambush her considering she could smell me.
Perhaps. Or you're drowned out by something worse with a weird fucking hand.
I help camouflage you, Ben.
Should have bought those 2 dots of celerity before the game started.
I told you I couldn't tell you, dog. I told you I can't help you. You know I'm a huge fan of celerity, though. It's basically my favorite discipline, and every time I play a character without celerity, I'm just like... what did you get on your diplomacy roll, Pix?
Give me. I was just muted there. I actually did not make it, but I am going to. Yeah, let's see if charisma and persuasion.
So Ben is like already pinned up against the door, hand, claw, and you can see the
oh boy,
shift. Because it's time it's happening rapidly. You can it's happening. Like Ben's off. Ben is also they're also a tall individual, and Issa has a little bit of the almost like the Wolverine quality, where she's not particularly like tall, but she's got again that gymnast like just sort of like robust like muscular build, and just like this is strong woman competition. This is an MMA like world championship build, like, and she's just and she's got
she's got him pinned. Like Pix is like, whoa, look.
One hand, and Pix is saying some stuff.
Look, we didn't come here to fight. Please, I just want to know if Athena's okay. Just listen to me. Let me make a roll.
Yep.
Please. Please be good.
Oh no.
Performance charisma isn't probably what you were going for.
Oh yeah, performance. Gosh, wrong roll. Clicked on the wrong thing. Charisma. Let's do
Persuasion.
Persuasion. That's what I'm looking for. Hopefully, not a big pool. I'm hoping I roll well.
And you've got the 2 floating. You've got 2 dice you can roll here.
Right. Oh, I could have blood surged, but I did not. So that's one.
I
success.
will allow it. You've got the floating Charlotte. You've got the floating Elizabethan power right now, so you got a bonus willpower, and I will let you surge if you'd like as part of that. So you can re-roll 2 dice, and you can add 2 dice. This is kind of. I don't want Ben Sahar to take some ag damage right now. Is all I'm.
Okay.
The ST is communicating. I rolled decent, and I need to convey the conflict of the situation here, but I also want the party to succeed.
All right, that's 2 successes now for a total of 3. So,
she gets the claws, like she's already half transformed, and she gets the claws like into like one on the neck of Ben, and gets the claws sort of like beginning to go into Ben's chest. You're gonna take a single track of unhalved superficial damage. Okay, a single track Ben and she does stay.
oh, I think if Pix could cry, she would be. She's just desperate.
My taint knows your taint.
So, in this current track of discussion, it's going to be very difficult to reunite Issa or Athena with her guitarist. Can you remove the clause, please?
I'd imagine even Ben's got like the gladius out like to the belly of, Issa at this point. And again, you don't want to meet the outcast. You haven't met the outcast yet. You're still dealing with Issa. She eases up, but she doesn't relinquish her grip. Okay? Like she's got you're on foot level and you're looking down, but her like lower gravity base is like you're like easily suplexed like a train, quite frankly, a ghost train or a doom train even. And she
With Rob Halford on it.
yeah, she's currently like pulling like the claws out, and she like her hands hovering, but I don't care about him.
Well, Athena will.
That's why you're not.
If you care.
That's why you're not dead.
Look, I understand you care about Athena. I'm not sure what your relationship is, but if you care about her, then you're going to let us help you because we want her to be safe. People who care about her are in danger, and whatever the hell happened at that concert, we just want to make sure that she's okay.
If she dies, it's over. Not everybody.
What's over?
Everything.
You mean Memento Mori?
Everything. And she's still like eyes are just locked on Ben Sahar.
When Athens falls.
Depth shall rise.
We have our own legends. Still locked on Ben. But they overlap, you see. Yours talk of a place, ours talks of a person, and she's both.
Are you saying she's like a prophet or something?
No. A convergence. She finally steps away from Ben and like now gets this sort of coterie in front of her fanned out and a good like a pair of windows on either side and one to her rear in case she needs them. But then also there's the gauntlet she could step through if she truly needs that as a last resort in this really dangerous place to do that.
I mean, Pix is just gonna run a finger through, her what meager hair she has left. Look.
Died, as I recalled.
Blue. Died. Yeah. Blue.
Yeah.
Hey. Look, I really, I understand how difficult it is to let us into your home and not kill us, especially considering how some of us have reacted. It's not your home?
Just a place to stay. I have no home. Not anymore.
Do you follow Athena?
No. She came here. It made sense. It made sense. She's sort of resumed her full human form at this point, like the feralness, the protruding hairs, the claws. Canines are still a little bit pronounced because they always will be for her in particular, but they're not like jutting. The maw's not currently, protruding. She's not going into a berserker rage anymore.
Look, whatever this convergence you were speaking of was, you can't deny that we're tied together in some way, whether it's through Athena or whatever prophecies you were talking about or whatever black magic bullshit is going on in this forest. But you have to trust us when we say that we're here for our best interest.
No, I don't have to trust you, but I'm willing to listen, so speak.
We were there when the concert happened, when Pix was just gonna nod her head towards Sal and Ben. When it all went down, we saw things.
There was an attack.
I didn't mean to hurt the guitarist, she says, but he had it coming. And that's directed at Ben. She did get the help though, or he did get the help though.
He did.
Surprised one of your kind was that resilient. I haven't had a fight like that since Akawa.
Akawa?
He speaks fondly of you.
We once had an agreement. Relationships have soured. She says something in Spanish. Does anyone speak Spanish?
Alas, I do not. Or Pix does not. I do, but
Salvatore speaks Italian.
I personally spoke really good Spanish for a long time, and then I blanked everything. Otherwise, and I'm not going to embarrass an entire culture and language to try to white boy Spanish right now. There's a lilting and fleeting sort of quality. It almost sounds like a bit of a poetry to it, what she says. Maybe a proverb, maybe who knows. You can roll an insight to get the inference, the emotion of it,
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Just insight by itself.
You could do usually wits is paired with it. Or it could be intelligence if you're more scholarly, but wits would be more on this side of it. Oh shit! Messy crit.
I don't need
That's
to
a
roll.
messy critical. Oh no.
We haven't had you have one of these yet, so how does Pix's beast manifest itself to succeed right now?
I want to say Pix's beast is a lot like one of those chihuahuas you see in a kill shelter. It is mangy, it is toothless, but overall it is vicious, and it will get what it wants, even if it means biting the hand that feeds. And as Isa says this thing in Spanish, Pix is gonna latch onto that, that gummy shelter dog.
Yeah, I think
What do you mean by that?
There's
She's
probably
just gonna
some,
jump for it.
yeah, there's probably some physical affect that comes along with this, because the beast is pronouncing itself. What do you think? Is there a motion to your body? Do these little vampire fang, how does Pix inhabit the scene?
I want to say Pix does not care for personal space in this scene. She gets right up in Issa's face.
Okay.
Claw, the classic Nosferatu pose that you see in the movie. Claws out, wide eyes, the fangs, all of it. But with a rabid chihuahua-esque shaking.
Yeah, so this is an insight and wit. So you have an understanding. Right. There's you understand, even Pix is almost reacting and saying what you just said as you're sort of perceiving, you're already sort of getting this this reverence for Akawa, and it was a little bit of a under a different moon we'd have been friends type inflection is what you kind of gather. And again, it's some she quoted a poem or a song, essentially, is what you understand. And what Pix gets is this under a different moon vibe. What she says to you in your sort of pronounced mode. Other reflections would have been kinder to each other. He's not bad, but neither of us are good.
You
Look,
guys are a city.
just why won't you tell us where Athena is? We might be better than Ikawa. I don't know. We might be better than a lot of people in this city because I don't know. I just got thrown into this shithole of a life a few months ago, and they've been treating me better than most folks have.
So you're already in her space, and you're like Nosferatu bestial thing.
Oh
right?
yeah, she's like
Yeah.
she's
She
nose to nose.
she does one of those like she leans over. Pix, how tall is Pix? Pix is shorter and more diminutive.
Pix is 5 foot exactly.
Yeah, she she towers over you in this scene, and she's got this thickness to her. She just sort of like leans over you, like her chest is almost in you, and she smells you. She's like, I don't think you're all yourself. Your heart, if such a thing is still in there, might be in it, but you're not in control of your heart, are you? And then she looks over to Sal, who just said something about Akawa. And could you reset that real quick, because Discord sucks.
Yeah. Sal just inferred Kawa cares deeply about his city. Like,
On that much, we agreed. We used to work together. Well, not Akawa and I, but we used to work for the city together. You're the worm. And us. She just shakes her head and she doesn't say much more beyond that. She puts her attention back to Pix and takes like a single sort of half step back.
And now you work with Honor and Christian.
Her head like quick turns at you. We have an understanding. She cocks her head to the other side. And what have you seen? You mentioned the concert. She regards the entire coterie. What did you see?
Gonna let our ghosty boys take precedence here and also cast because they understand the ghosty shit. And also Pix needs to calm down.
at the concert.
Oh, like Pix's blood has like unwilling, or Pix's heart has like an unwilling blood beating into it type thing, you know, like where it's not like a blush of life. Like, is it the beast? Is it like a unwilling blush of life situation? But there was like a feral response, or from the bestial, the messy critical into that situation. There's things are stirring in Pix, and I got to take a note for myself about the stains because I don't want to forget them.
Saw a wraith. The Kawa said it may be one of the talents. You thought you may know something more.
That's not what I asked. I asked you what you saw. You saw one of the wraiths. No, you saw. What did you see? And she just kind of goes like this and like a finger like across the whole coterie. At the concert.
A fucking waiting room.
Does anyone...
Has to say, we met with the choir.
She actually like it takes like a quarter step away and like is sort of like this is a if the party wanted to ambush and murder her right now, this is her at her lowest guard. And she just sort of quarter steps away and looks to the side. She's just shaking her head. She maybe mutters something under her breath in Spanish, but you can roll an insight to get the tone again.
I'll do so.
Yeah, go for that. Let's get another messy critical. This would be great. And at this point, I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
You just hear it in English at that point, or
Just have picks bouncing off
yeah.
the walls.
Yeah.
Let's see.
If this, I'm not like. Give me another messy crit.
Oh, that was charisma.
Oh, that was close. Possibly BC Fire went up the wrong, the other way.
Yeah, wrong one. Let me get that again. Ba-da-da-da. Wits, there you are.
That's way better.
Okay, 2 successes. No Bastille failure or messy crit this time.
You get a little bit of a disbelief. There's some sort of disbelief and dejection in the tone. You don't know what the hell she said, even remotely, but there's like a disbelief and dejection. What did Cass roll on the insight with?
3.
Same thing. Just there's some disbelief and dejection, but there's no way to know what the hell she said unless you speak, Spanish.
What, you're telling me everyone who doesn't come through this town, it doesn't meet with the voices in the dark place during concerts? Or why Athena's connected to it? There's a lot of this that isn't connecting.
She turns back. Cass, you're about to say something.
There was a trespasser, interloper.
Is that the same as your Talon? She says, looking at you, or a different entity?
Not aware if it was different. My focus was on that for most of the night.
Most of the city has. She just waves her hand. The ghosts are. They're almost noise, background,
Everywhere.
She nods. Takes a while to adjust, doesn't it?
And Sal is probably at that point, just kind of rubbing his.
Is the glove off?
Yeah.
Yes, no.
Oh, yeah. I took it off as I was walking and kind of let
Okay.
the.
She, you maybe watched her eyes flit down to it, but she's not, focusing on it. There's, maybe a significant exchange between the eyes where she's like, I see you. I see this, and it's not like a concern or a wariness. This is a what you're fucking with is none of my business, but what you're fucking with might become my business type of glance down and then back to your face. Okay? Right, and then she again proceeds. It's disorienting when you first get here. I'd imagine there's all kinds of Torador and Malkavian. They almost got to get the lay of the land when they end up in Milwaukee. It's not too different for us. But it becomes background noise. And it almost, once you get the lay of it, you can tell the off notes. You can tell what doesn't belong in the noise. And there's a lot of discordance. Pretty pronounced. Ambassador Hotel, for instance. It's, that one's different. spirits, there's one's out of sync. But there's also I guess you're locked in, she says. You're just on the right wavelength. You're just in harmony. And that thing, the intruder of the Talon, that's something else entirely. Like, doesn't make any noise at all. Something way worse. Did you met the choir? And she's probing at this point Cass's face for like sincerity, and then like flitting towards Pix too, because Pix seems to be the most emotive of the bunch.
What does this have to do with Athena?
I can't believe you're nothing. You're nobody. She just kind of like under her hand, under her hand. Athena's a convergence, she says. There's all of us have our end game. Mankind, whether it's their fucking Ragnarok from Norse mythology or some calendar running out or some new sci-fi cult.
Yeah, but Issa, that's who we're looking for.
And yeah,
Sorry, what?
Spoke to the weird voices.
There's a point where all of them intersect. Where all of them intersect. You understand?
Yes, this is the same conversation we had with Akawa.
That's Athena.
But where is the physical body of Athena?
I told you I'm not telling you. What are you going to do if you meet Athena?
I told you, I just want to reunite her with her guitars. That's the whole point of me being here.
Look, I'm sorry what happened to him, but he got in the way. And he doesn't understand. It's too scrambled for him. He doesn't even hear the beckoning anymore. How could he hear the choir? Wait, you said he's asleep, isn't he? Vampire asleep, like, for goodsies.
For now.
For now, yeah.
It's going to take a lot to wake him up.
I plan to once I figure out where Athena is.
No, you don't. I can't tell you where Athena is. It's not. If what's happening is happening, it's not. It doesn't help us to know where she is. It helps us. It helps us for nobody to know where she is. Do you understand?
Does it have to do with the choir? Things that spoke to us? I get it. If this means Athena's in danger, we have to know what's going on.
She will always be in danger if she's the convergence. Always. And things are showing up looking for her. Beyond any of our capabilities to protect or predict. It is best she disappear. Do you understand?
I don't. There's too many secrets. There's too much. Why can't you just be straightforward with us?
If the end is coming, she will be found.
Or at the very least, we can stop it, Issa, or whatever is going on here. We saw what happened at that concert. We heard the choir. We just.
I can't
There
believe
has to be some way.
I can't believe you heard the fucking choir. She's like seems like salty. Like she like as if she was handed some prophecy that one day she'd do something big, like that was a big deal, but like didn't hear the choir directly, and she's super mad that these fucking randos from everywhere heard the choir.
So is there any point to continue this conversation with her? And I'm going to look at the other vampires and be like, she's not going to tell us anything. She wants to talk and sound just like a Kawa. Is there a point to continue this conversation?
No. You brought up a good point. The mad one. If everything's looking for her, then it's best we have more protecting her. But I need to know you're on her side. The politics at play here. The reason none of you are dead yet, the reason Honor and I have a rapport for, quite frankly, unrelated bullshit. Which is why I knew what happened was happening. I need to know that you're not a problem. And she looks directly at Sal that time, and then Sal's hand.
A problem.
This is a problem, she says, and she gestures at the hand finally. If things are seeking her, if the convergence is to occur, or rather, if things are seeking the convergence, and then she gestures, this is a back door.
I don't believe I'm well acquainted enough with this yet to know. I have no ill will towards Athena. My friends wish her safety. As long as they wish that, I will do what it takes to help them provide that.
I've overcome my taint, and it will forever be with me, no matter what. So I use the term here, overcome, very lightly. You just leaned into yours. She just confirmed she's a black spiral dancer, by the way.
Yeah, for those who are not werewolf people.
For now, the tree, and I know you know which tree I speak of clearly,
It's
is
not.
a means to an end.
It's not. It's not the tree that's the problem. It is what it is. It's what's attracted to it. And what you now attract to you. And you want to meet Athena, and she changes her gaze back to the party.
Look, I can't speak for all of us here. But for myself, I promise you, I swear on my blood, that I mean the best for Athena.
Yeah. You and whose blood? She laughs.
Pix isn't even going to answer, but she isn't even sure how to answer it, honestly.
No,
she
'cause
just got called out.
Yeah, and Pix has some internalization stuff going on.
He is me. What are you talking about?
He stays. You we can deal with.
What do the rest of you think of that?
As long as we move along with this progress, we're burning daylight.
Moonlight.
Right.
Enjoy your visit
Hey,
with the
moonlight
girl.
comes from the sun.
Why aren't we all burning right now and taking act damage?
Were those four hunting you? Or are they your minions?
She shakes her head, glances past, sniffs. Old acquaintances. With a score.
There were 5.
I don't get you, but I like you, she says, looking at Cass.
I don't get me either.
But he grows on people like a weed.
That he does.
We can get out of here. Easy or violent, your call.
Take them
Easy.
to Athena. I'll play in the woods.
She nods. You see her hand like kind of go feral and grow fur and stuff, and she pricks into her palm and throws her blood. And you notice her blood is like a super deep dark, like crimson bordering on black color, and she throws it on the ground. You'd love to see this, she says, pointing at Sal as she grabs essentially the party with picks in the middle and pulls them through her blood and sideways.
Castle
They're gone.
toss the goggles out as she grabs them.
Do y'all have a hard out, or can we do a final like meet up with Athena type thing? Because this is a pretty good place to stop.
I got a heart out, unfortunately.
All right,
I gotta get up early tomorrow.
Yeah, so we can
Well, I was
call
thinking
it.
this would also be good out because then we can have Elizabeth back possibly for the
With
Athena.
Sal and yeah, okay. All right, so let's call it here, and we'll pick up next week.
Hell yeah.
And Sal's totally not going to go unsupervised to the tree for that second night of sacrifices.
No. Don't you dare.
It's almost like we thought that would happen, and that's why we left you there.
Or whatever.
We as in me.
He had a moment. He was told that the path he's walking is kind of gnarly, and he's like, "Yo, I'm going back to the tree dog." I love that. That's what just happened there.
Lean into it.
Yeah, big fan, everybody. All right.
Vic just had a gay panic moment. I'm sorry. Tall werewolf.
Remember, Pix, you're in charge.
No, it's all right. No, it's all right.
I left Sal alone for like an hour, and Sal chopped his fucking hand off.
We can't leave Sal around sharp things. Admittedly, I would trust y'all with Cass, but also at the same time, I feel like Cass needs supervision to provide supervision, so it's like a supervision chain of just the
It's
coterie
different,
watches
though.
each other.
It's different. Cass does like mass violence and murder, but it doesn't end the world.
Just ordinary evils. And
He's
that's
just
always
ordinary.
always returned.
Salvatore's just an arborist.
You know, there's a character in this game called the Gardener.
I know. I need to meet the gardener. That comes after Issa.
The
Salvatore
Gardener
has a list of people Salvatore needs to talk to. Goes Issa, gardener, Talon thing at the rave. That's the order here.
not find picks his friend. That's not important to you anymore.
I have my guys looking for Francis.
Insensitive.
I am multitasking like any
But
good
she's very sensitive.
business person would.